aka Patters. In today's episode of reading every single comic book in human history, we have Thunderbolts 76. All new, all different, first issue. Marvel Comics for real men. Can you even imagine this happening today? We have a quote by Kurt Busiek, and this is maybe the worst quote he could have given for this book. I think it's a good work by talented people, a book to be proud of. Kurt Busiek co-created this book. This is his baby. It's a culmination of loving comics, loving continuity, and keeping track of the B, C, D, E, and F characters. But the book changes. Joe Quesada comes on board and basically says, I'll show you guys real quick. Joe Quesada basically says, if you like the movie Fight Club, not the book by the way, but if you like the movie Fight Club and you like the super villains of Thunderbolts, because Thunderbolts primarily is a super villain book, then we got something for you, because we're going to put the two together. We're going to get super villains and Fight Club, and we're going to bump the concept and a lot of the characters for roughly 7 years you've grown to love in the Marvel Universe. We're going to bump them all, give you this. We're going to redo the logo, bring in some new talent. I mean, some amazing talent, though. Just look at this scenic shot here. I mean, I love the way this card looks. So get ready. Today, it's Thunderbolts 76. Here it is, aka Powders, one of my favorite comic book in continuity reboots. Thunderbolts 76. Now, here, let me scoot over. We're going to put up Thunderbolts 75. Because over here, we can see everything went kablooey. And in a way, this cover represents the time of Marvel during all of this. It was Joe Quesada. The Joe Quesada era is a true deconstruction of Marvel Comics. The idea was to focus on the writers, to dig around, and even in this issue, like Armadillo is in this issue, but to find the cool, to add a cool factor to even an F or D list villain or superhero. A lot of this was designed for trade paperbacks. Marvel was coming into their own as a back issue publisher. Now, all the writing mandates and all of the focus on writing never quite left Marvel at this time. A lot of you always ask, why wasn't there a new Image? Why weren't the Image 7 that left Marvel? How come the art never came back into American comics? This is why. Deconstruction means it's going to take us a longer time to tell this story. You're going to have to buy more issues. And in so, we're going to be able to develop a trade paperback library where, just for, what the intent of the editors are. You buy this, and you have to buy 4 to 5 other trade paperbacks. So you're spending a lot of time, a lot of money, just to get the full picture. Thunderbolts goes kablooey. They rolled this in. This is relatively supervillain Fight Club. Now, it is wonderfully, I always forget this guy's name, Velasco, Francisco Velasco. What the heck is this guy? I always, let's see, what is this dude's name? Yeah, Francisco Velasco. J.R. Cootie is our Cuddy, as I like to call him, is our writer, but the artwork, and it doesn't come through on the initial cover. Now, the covers get way better, but this, even with stellar artwork, a new style artwork within this direction. We have a lot of anime influence. We have a lot of Udon Studios, Dreamwave Productions, kind of getting into American comic books, transforming the superhero look into something a little bit more Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z. Thunderbolts Fight Club only lasts a few issues, and then they get into they come back in like Thunderbolts. I believe it was like reassembled. I'm gonna put that up, or Thunderbolts Assembled. It's a play on Avengers Disassembled, the Brian Michael Bendis arc that I love and I hate because it made Wolverine and Spider-Man permanent mainstays in the Avengers lineup. And we all know Spider-Man and Wolverine do not belong in the Avengers. All of this though, it's one hell of a effort. They swung for the fences and they missed. And they quickly just go back to the original idea for the Thunderbolts. And keep in mind, the psychology of how Marvel built up the Thunderbolts is very similar to how they built up New Warriors. New Warriors introduced in the Mighty Thor. They, like, we don't have a winner, we don't have a loser, but we have a team of youngins, a team we're not familiar with, and they can kind of stay there with Juggernaut and Thor. So when you see them in their own series, you're interested. Previously, right, we go back to issue 1, the Incredible Hulk encounters the Thunderbolts, and Kurt Busiek and Mark Bagley roar in. They roar in with that issue 1 reveal that they're all supervillains, but up until that time, we thought they were superheroes. They're villains in disguise, and that's the real awesome, amazing Hulk. That's Kurt Busiek, who has the quote here. That's Kurt Busiek's one of his absolute best contributions to all of Marvel Comics. Later, and feel free to check me on this, Dark Avengers might have been Thunderbolts, and then it gets retitled into Dark Avengers, where we have Bullseye as Hawkeye, we have Venom as Spider-Man, Norm Osborn as Iron Man, or he's like the Iron Patriots. That's one of my favorite just gotchas. And they were so sadistic, so crazy, so perfectly written. Mike Deodato Jr. did the artwork for that. I believe that may have lasted till issue 200 because it got retitled along the way. So we take the first 20 years of Thunderbolts. We have one experiment after the other, and it varies with success. And this is the one that everyone forgot. But this is also during the anti-artist movement within Marvel Comics to give all the attention to the writers. And because of that, we have more character building, and that's what's here. Now, does it all make you want to read the next issue? Well, we're going to determine that once we hit that drawing table. So let's go. Long day's journey into night, my AKAPADers. Cheers. A whole day went by since I shot that intro. The reason for that is I'm a busy mother effer. Just a preview. I'm going to be live streaming a lot of my Street Fighter 2. Well, I guess Street Fighter 2 is almost done, because I'm going to move on to the Street Fighter Alpha characters. But I'm going to be live streaming a lot of this and hanging out with you guys. So be mindful for that. That's why you subscribe. Get your notifications, because you'll get updated when I'm live, and you can come hang out with me. Yeah, I butchered a couple ideas with that intro. Let me just open this up. I butchered a few ideas. Idea number 1. Thunderbolts is a transitional title in the vein of the Mighty Thor coming from... What was it? Fantastic Journey into Mystery. That's it. So Journey into Mystery, right, transitions into Mighty Thor. And I want to say, it might have been around issue like 70 or 60. So essentially, the Mighty Thor never had a original Marvel continuity #1. Thunderbolts is similar. It goes from the Kurt Busiek, Mark Bagley Thunderbolts. It transitions into this, and from this, it goes back to the original Thunderbolts. Then it goes into Dark Avengers, and somewhere along the way, it gets renumbered. They call that legacy numbering. It's confusing if you research it on Wikipedia. With the movie coming out, I think we're going to be spending some money on Thunderbolts and reading a lot of Thunderbolts. So just be on the lookout. And consider this as your prerequisite to everything Thunderbolts outside of the things that we know to be Thunderbolts. And technically, if you want to get into that movie, this is the one that should have the asterisks right here, because it's almost like just Thunderbolts as a name, and Thunderbolts is just, it's a fight club, and this storyline lasts 6 issues. Marvel at the time too was very good with setting the stage with these title pages. A lot of the times they were on the inside cover, which is, it befuddles me, because you should have the inside cover for advertising. They really should have 2 pages. And I don't know why you don't just plus out your page count where you can actually sell a little bit more advertising. I don't like any comic story not beginning on the facing page. But when we do this, we already interrupt what the flow is, and there's a lot of psychology and there's a lot of instincts when it comes to comic book design and comic book layout. This is not one of them. I just want to make the note. Later, this book, 77, 78, 79, 80, and 81, the covers get way better. I absolutely hate this cover. I don't know who gave this thumbs up. We have a bunch of characters in a setting, in an idea, right? Because this is supposed to be all new, all different. This is supposed to be Armadillo. This is like our new protagonist kind of guy that we're following. He's almost like Rocky Balboa in this, because he has like a SHIT life, and he just, he's going to get involved with fighting. This doesn't sell the idea. I think some of the later covers sell it in a little bit of a cool way, but it later didn't work. So we have to have our opening page with Spider-Man, by the way. So we get introduced to our boy. He's coming home from work. Homeless dude's begging him for a nickel. I see you coming home every night. That hard hat, that lunchbox. I know you got more in your pocket than a damn nickel. Gives him a nickel. But, life is hard. So he goes home, and his mother, to kind of cheer him up, leaves out a battle beaten again. And this dude flips out. This guy flips out. He's like, Mom, what are you doing? He is, look, you see how small his mom? This dude is hugey. Guys, I love those highlights. I love a lot of the computer coloring. Big shout out to Francisco Ruiz Vasquez, because he was involved with a lot of Guillermo del Toro movies. Pacific Rim, that's one of my all-time favorite movies, and Thor Ragnarok. So he has a solid IMDb. Not much of a comic book arc after this, but what the heck, who cares? Bare Knuckle is the name of our episode. So his mom's like, now Daniel, please, I know you're miserable. I see that every night, and I know you're unhappy. So I thought if I reminded you of how bad things used to be, how am I supposed to forget about it, Mama? I have a mirror. I look at myself in the mirror every night. So he used to be the supervillain called the Battler, and he went to prison for about 3 years. And he's just working, he's working a construction job, and he absolutely hates his life. So he's looking for meaning. It's a good setup, but I love some of these panels. It's really there. So we cut to the Fight Club, And we all know really who's fighting, other than Armadillo. We don't know who this other guy is, but I love the highlights, the coloring, those little shots of white perfectly placed for that blood. It's really cool stuff. But Armadillo completely shreds this guy, which is, I mean, again, some like great poses here. And look, like this shot here, right? Like these two shots. We've seen this in a million comics. Not inventing anything new, but we get the idea of something new from the style and the coloring. I mean, these shots of highlights. I mean, it's really nice stuff. But Armadillo, who I was under the impression was orange, but now he's greenish, completely shreds this guy, wins the fight, disgusts everyone. Yeah, and we learned that it's somewhat of a racket, right? There's an organized crime element involved. And this exchange here with the guy running the fights and the guy kind of like owning the fights, he kicks out this hooker. It's a really good exchange, and you feel so sorry for the girl. But we get these great scenes. That's not a perfectly drawn vehicle, right? Because it just looks small, but it just works in the scene. The car here works so well. And our guy, our mafia leader-ish, and you kind of have a sense that these are small-time crime guys. They're small-time organized crime. And if Dillo loses a fight when we don't want him to, man will take a bath. So they need Armadillo to keep winning his fights. Perfect, awesome setup. And this girl's like, Ray, I'm cold. What the F does that... what the F you want me to do about it? I got business here. When I'm finished, then maybe I'll give a crap about... he goes like, maybe I'll give a SHIT about you. We don't like to curse too much on this channel. But this guy just treats her. And basically, he sends her like up to like Armadillo. So look, this is like... But look at the highlights on her red dress. This dude, like, a nice... Like, guys, we talk about this. Look how perfectly we split the panel, right? Like the one guy talking is on the left, right? And the one guy he's talking to is on the right the entire time. This is proper. Look, we get it here. We get it here. We get it here. Look, here. Not here, but guess what though? It just works. So it's not always perfect, but you want to do it a majority of the time, especially when we have two characters talking. But the way how we puts this girl in her place, here we go. See if one night with that nasty freak don't teach her to keep her weather reports to her damn self. He was that pissed off that she just said she was cold. We cut to the construction site. We're like, look, man, you gotta move a tractor. He's like, I'm on my lunch. He's like, do it or you're out. So he's gotta pull up a tractor. And we see he's tired. But look how bigger he is than normal people. He goes, now hurry up and finish your lunch. So, yeah, he just has a crap life. But look at the purple highlights here. So to kind of consider that someone's doing this on a monthly schedule, that they're doing colors this well and controlling the production process, this was a little like by controlling the production process. I mean that they're penciling, they're getting some of the inks down, but it's basically like a one-person show. This is a little bit of the time of the post-image era. There's a few of these guys I want to kind of get a little bit of a stack of and introduce them to you. So be on the lookout for that. Future on this channel. I have a lot of these already coming. When I'm delayed in some of my video rollouts, this is kind of what happens, where throughout the day, I'll just keep digging and researching, like building a little bit of a portfolio, if you will. And then I'll just start ordering things from all over the web. So just be on the lookout. We have Armadillo here getting his pep talk because he's got back-to-back fights. His trainer's here. And we just find out that his trainer's been with him for quite some time. And again, we perfectly split the panel here, right? A little bit of back and forth, but he goes, yeah, well, scheduling, that's not my department, but... And he kind of just guilts him. He kills him and tricks him, and we see that Armadillo is a little bit slow. He preps him on his next fight, which is like, this guy he feeds off your anger. That's one of his powers, so don't be angry, and he's super quick. So you got to fight him this way, and we find out very quickly that Armadillo smashes this guy into oblivion, but you know, the guy still gets a little bit of a payday. He freaks out the kids run off, and then we jump to this bar where the trainer, right, it's the same trainer that we saw here. He kind of agitates the battler, because that's who our this guy right here, battler, agitates battler, dumps a beer on his head, and we find out, hey, everybody likes to see a good fight. And I mean, it's a good, we wrap it up good, guys, but look at some of these highlights. We wrap it up good. The question always is, does this make us want to read the next issue? And the answer is yes. It's a good reboot. It's a good new direction. We have a character that, because they do the Rocky Balboa, Harry Potter, Peter Parker thing, where we feel so sorry for this guy. It works so well. Yeah, guys, I don't know. It just didn't catch on. That's the big problem with this. And there were other books. They did the same thing with X-Force, Cable, Deadpool. Arguably, they did the same thing with the Incredible Hulk at this time. Spider-Man literally got spun into a whole different direction. They were willing to experiment at this time in Marvel Comics. The fruits of that, none of it carried over to today, which is crazy.